How do you, at the end of the day, how do you want to be remembered when it's all said and done?
Well, first of all, it's nice to be remembered, and I'm fortunate that because of what Nvidia has done and what we've built and the impact that we have in the single most important technology industry in the world, the most important instrument of humanity, computers, that Nvidia will likely long beyond me be important to the world. And I was fortunate to have been a founder with Chris and Curtis. I was fortunate to have stayed on top of the pile, and continue to learn and not be the reason the company went out of business, but oftentimes the reason the company stayed in business. That I built something that is quite consequential to the world. That it wasn't just consequential to an industry or to a community, but a company that's really genuinely consequential to the world. Not many people in the world get to say that. That I was the founder and I'm here enjoying this and doing this. That the company turned out to have been what it is, and to have the impact on so many other industries, literally every single industry in the world, to have employees that have been here for 33 years and their lives enriched. Second generation and even third generation employees are now starting to work here. That we're able to grow an employee base, around the world. That they're in Israel and be able to share with them, their desperation and then now their joy and their hope and to share with them their sorrows. And not many people get to say they're not many get to experience that and to be part of that. And then build an employee base all over the world. And in China, I'm proud of them. Our employees in Taiwan, I'm deeply proud of them. And all of our employees in India, I'm so proud of them. And our European employees, and so my Canadian employees, we're growing a large Canadian base, and one of these days I'm hoping that Nvidia gets to extend ourselves into the global South, the rest of the world that wants to be part of what we all enjoy today. I was just talking to somebody yesterday about the work that we're doing in Africa and the work that we should be doing more in Latin America and in Southeast Asia. I'm so proud of the impact that our company has. And so how do people remember me? They'll probably remember me as a founder and builder of Nvidia. That's probably
And a good guy.
Well, that goes without saying. He has
funny guy.
He has a great sense of humor and he doesn't take himself too seriously and he, in a lot of ways, I'm still a reluctant CEO. I like being inside the company more than I like being outside the company. I like not giving speeches than giving speeches, and I like not giving keynotes at all. And yet, I have to do it. And so I'm a highly reluctant CEO, but I'm a very enthusiastic Nvidia builder. And any aspect of my job that is necessary to do that, I'll do. And so that's a long-winded answer for I have no idea what people remember me as.
Well, I think it's always fun when the good guys win. So I love watching your success. I've loved it all of these years. It's been fun to watch all the ups and downs.
You've seen every one.
To the right, yeah, it's great.
You've seen every one. You've seen absolutely every one. And just as a reminder to all the CEOs, nobody does it alone. We are the CEO, but somebody has to be. And if not for the generosity, really, your generosity, early days, talking about Nvidia and all of those Morris Chang Awards didn't hurt. That was probably the Morris Chang Award. It was probably the first award I ever received that meant something.
Wow, that's very cool. I love that.
That was in somebody else's name, and that he actually played a role in selecting, and that meant a lot to me. It means a lot to me today, and the generosity of all the companies that we work with. CEOs need help, and I have no idea how many times I've started conversations with that. I need your help, and oftentimes really need your help, and you're really the only person who can help me. And people have been generous and gracious to help me along the way. Share with me their knowledge and teach me how to do things and help me get things done. And so I that's maybe the real life lesson of CEOs. It's surprisingly a vulnerable,
a lonely position too, right?
Yeah, it can be. It can be. Yeah, it can be. But Jody, I would say it's probably lonely in our heads. It's in our head. It's lonely. In our headspace is lonely because you're trying to solve a problem that sometimes are kind of tricky, and you're talking to yourself, and for a long period of time, so many challenges. Almost every transition in our company, every phase shift, every time I reinvent the company, I've spoken to myself probably, I don't know how many thousands of hours.
Right.
And in that time, you're quite lonely, but we also have to recognize that everybody wants to help us. They want us to succeed. And like, you said earlier, you like watching me succeed. I know you want me to succeed, and I want you to succeed. And so in a lot of ways, we're not alone that way.
Right.
And so we're, CEOs are a surprisingly vulnerable skill. Or profession, maybe that's, you can't do anything alone. And so you're at the mercy of almost everybody. You're at the charity of everybody. And, maybe the world makes it look like we're formidable leaders, but we're the most vulnerable of all the people in the company. And I often say, I'm the only person in the company who can't get anything done without other people's help. And that, I think that's true for most CEOs. And so that's the learning, maybe, that CEOs are more vulnerable than they allow themselves to feel. But I got no trouble with that. I've got no trouble feeling vulnerable.
This episode is brought to you by Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley celebrated its 90th anniversary last year, and its tech investment banking team has prided itself in working with the most innovative entrepreneurs and leadership companies for decades. During that time, they've led IPOs for hundreds of tech companies, including Apple, Arm, Astera Labs, Broadcom, Cisco, Facebook, Google, Nvidia, Salesforce, and Uber. In addition, they worked as a trusted advisor and executed thousands of M&A transactions for some of the most industry-defining deals in technology. Throughout the years, Morgan Stanley's tech investment banking team's success has been achieved by dedication, consistency, and a North Star purpose of helping its clients to maximize their opportunities and overcome their challenges. Now, let's get back to the episode. Okay, so about to wear out my welcome, I think. I've been here
Why are people...
Yeah,
they've been taught to not do that.
No one has. I'm just kidding. So we're going to end on some rapid fire questions that I call the last tape out.
Wow. Okay.
Don't
tell me. Don't.
The first.
Don't tell me when my last tape out is. See, now I'm holding myself because this is the part I don't like. Okay, go.
Who's the smartest person you've ever met?
Who's the smartest person I've ever met? I can't answer that question. And I know what people are thinking. The definition of smart is somebody who's intelligent, solve problems, technical. But I find that that's a commodity. And we're about to prove that artificial intelligence is able to handle that part easiest. And so as it turns out, let me give you another example. Everybody thought software programming is the ultimate smart profession. Look what is the first thing that AI is solving, software programming. And so it turns out that the definition of smart is very different than most people think. And I think long-term, the definition of smart, and my personal definition of smart is someone who sits at that intersection of being technically astute, but human empathy and having the ability to infer the unspoken, around the corners, the unknowables. People who are able to see around corners are truly, truly smart. And their value is incredible. To be able to preempt problems before they show up, just because you feel the vibe. And the vibe came from a combination of data, analysis, first principle, life experience, wisdom, sensing other people. That vibe, I think that's smart. That I think is going to be the future definition of smart. And that person might actually score horribly on the SAT.
Right.
And so, anyhow.
Okay.